everyone. My name is Daphne St. Clair Ferguson, and I'm so excited to be sitting down and talking all things Highland Coos. All right, take it away. Introduce yourself to our little audience here. Tell me a bit about yourself and a little bit about the show.
Hi, my name is Sara Tremilstein. I'm the playwright and director of Me and You and the Highland Coo. It's a road trip adventure through Scotland where two best friends are on the search for the perfect Highland Coo to distract themselves from their problems back home in Canada.
Ooh. So I have to ask, why do this show in Canada if all your problems are here?
Well, the show, I wrote the show while living in Scotland, so it's had a bit of an international journey, but I think so many Canadian audiences can relate to living away from home. So many people in Toronto also are from abroad, and so I just thought it was the perfect play to sort of bring for people who come from away, as the musical goes. So.
The classic Canadian musical. That's wonderful. And being an international company, you also are, you said you were a Montreal-based team, is that correct? Yeah. So from Scotland and then Montreal, talk to me a little bit about how all of these different places have influenced your directing style, your writing style. Talk to me about that.
Great. Yeah. So a lot of my plays deal with the idea of liminality, which is existing in two worlds. And I think because I've moved around quite a bit, I'm from Montreal. I lived in Japan for a bit, Scotland, Paris, now back in Montreal, lived in Toronto for a bit. So much of my playwriting has to do with feeling like you don't belong in either of those places and negotiating like that identity.
That's wonderful. Well, I guess what I've also been talking to people about is Canada trying to find its own identity. So do you find that as well, that Canada also lives between identities, and so this show maybe is platformed better off in Canada?
I definitely think that, and while I was living in Scotland studying theatre, that's a big part of Scottish theatre identity too. It's who is Scotland? They're not England and they're not European, but who is Scotland? And I think Canada has a similar struggle. Like, we're not American, but we're also not European. We're not British anymore. And Montreal specifically, it's a very multicultural city. Sorry.
Very windy.
Very windy. But we also speak English in Montreal, obviously, because we're quite cosmopolitan, but we exist within the French province. So there is so many hyphenated identities in being Canadian, being French-Canadian, but also an Anglophone living in the French part of Canada. So definitely part of the Canadian theatre identity.
That's wonderful. And where does the Highland Coo fit into the Canadian theatre identity?
So the Highland Coo is a symbol of hope in the show. And I believe the Canadian identity is also about trying to find hope. You know, many people come here to escape problems in their home countries or for a better life. And I think we're all searching for our Highland Coo in Canada.
All searching and getting blown away on this search. It is quite windy out here. My apologies for the wind. And I also am curious, so you've kind of gone on a bit of a road trip yourself then. Is there's something special that you take from each road trip traveling around that you bring to this show?
Definitely it's the people you meet along the way. I mean, it's very cheesy to say, but it's really in the journey and not the destination. And we've come across so many amazing talented artists here at the Fringe. Whoever we bring the show to, they all have stories of their own, and I think that's definitely part of the road trip theme, is who do you meet along the way of your journey.
That is so true. And have you met a favorite person so far on your journey?
Oh my, well, the first day I was in Scotland, I met this man sitting at a cafe, and they're very dog friendly there. But my favorite person was his dog named Hector. It was a tiny Scottish terrier with a tartan bow tie. So.
That is so sweet. Sometimes the best people just really are dogs, and you can't deny that, right? And what is so special about Scotland to you? What charmed you about Scotland so much that you're writing a show about it?
I think people in Scotland love a good story. There's a little bit in the play where we talk about the eagerness to ask questions in Scotland, to know everything about everyone. And I just think it's such a part of their culture, the folk tales and oral storytelling tradition, that I was just blown away by how anyone you meet on the street, they would strike up a conversation with you. And they want to know everything about everyone. They're just hoping to get a good story out of you. And yeah, exactly.
That is just great. I'm always looking for the best stories here, and you're telling them, so I'm loving that. And you, as a fundraiser, I saw you did traditional Scottish dance. Can you talk to me a little bit about the inspiration for that and how you organized that?
Yeah. So While I was living in Scotland, I somehow became part of the Scottish Country Dance Society at the University of Glasgow because I'm a dancer. That's what I do. So I just fell into Scottish folk dancing, and we did some competitions. But also the more important part was that we did what's called a céilí, which is an evening of traditional Scottish dancing with usually live music. And there's like set dances that you learn, so everyone knows the dancing. And it's sort of like country dance where they call out the routines as well. So it's very communal, very community based, and anyone could really pick it up. And I thought, like, wow, what a great thing to bring to Toronto. And I knew of the Royal Scottish Country Dance Society, which is an international organization for like saving these dances and teaching them. And there's a chapter in Toronto. So I partnered with them and they said, yeah, we would love to help you. So they provided the music, the callers, the venue, and we just collaborated on that. It was definitely interesting being in a different province, collaborating on it. And I'm so thankful for them because they really brought their own students to the event. We weren't really sure till the day of who was going to show up. But it was a success, and I think it really helped get the word out to the Scottish community in Toronto as well.
That is just so magical. I feel like dance is just some of the best storytelling that you can have, and having that background, I imagine, made your playwriting experience even more elevated. Would you agree with that, or did you find that there were elements of dance that you don't bring into the show?
I think that's a really good question. There was an earlier draft where we tried to include a céilí in the show because the show does have audience participation, and I think that was an idea we had to put to rest, just given the confines of Fringe. But I'm always trying to think about how do we include an audience, how do we invite an audience into a play, and I think dance is so great for that. Now I'm a ballroom dance teacher with the Arthur Murray Company, and a big part of that is social dancing. So the courage to go up and invite somebody and share in a dance in a moment together, I think that's the ethos I try to bring to playwriting as well, like the courage to share a story with someone and invite them to be moved by it too. So I hope we accomplish a bit of that in the play.
If your play's anything like the way you're speaking to me now, I have no doubt about that at all. It's just really magical. Is there anything else, before I ask my final question, is there anything else you'd like our audiences to know about this show?
So this is the first time that we as a company have produced a show. As individuals, we've all done a bunch of our own things. We've been to separate fringes, but this is our first time all coming together. So I would just love to say hello. Thank you for having us in Toronto, and please take a chance on the underdogs. You've never heard of us before, but I think it's going to be a good night out, as they say in Glasgow.
A great night out. And for my final question, I have to ask, what do you want to do with your life?
Okay, I want to keep writing stories and sharing stories. I love dance. What I discovered is I don't really want to make a profession out of performing as a dancer. I find when I'm dancing, that message is more for myself. But when I'm writing, I feel like I have something to say to other people. And I'd love to just keep writing and sharing stories at the Fringe, or maybe professionally, hopefully getting paid for it one day.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed on that. But until then, just keep fringing. This has been such an amazing first experience for me. And it's just so inspiring to see all the other artists here as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sara. Be sure, everyone, check out Me, You, and the Highland Coo here. We've got the lovely poster here. This is the original from Montreal. Is that correct? The original from Montreal. So come check out this relic of a poster. And I am Daphne St. Clair. We are signing off. Watch the next video. It's pretty cool.
My name is Daphne St. Clair. My name is Daphne St. Clair. My name is Daphne St. Clair.
Watch the next video. It's pretty cool. Watch the next video.
My name is Daphne St. Clair.
My name is Daphne St. Clair.
Daphne St. Clair.
Watch the next video.